Welcome to yet another Storytime episode. Today we'll talk about the chilling story of a woman who rented a house in Puchong, Selangor, in Malaysia, and the terrible events that she faced. Preferred having her name anonymous, we'll stick to calling her Sarah. At the time Sarah told her story, she was an attendant at a local Petronas petrol station in Puchong. Sarah rented an old apartment and has been staying at this apartment for several months, but lately she felt like something was different. On Thursday night, she worked late and reached home around midnight. Exhausted after a long day, she rented her house, threw her bag and helmet on the sofa in the living room and sat cross-legged on the floor, lighting up a cigarette before intending to shower. She scrolled through her Instagram on her phone, and exactly then was when she started feeling something strange. She felt something staring at her from the kitchen and looked over in that direction but saw nothing there. Thinking she was tired, she ignored it, and feeling like showering now, she went to the bathroom. Coming out from the bathroom, she realized that her helmet was missing from the sofa. She slipped her clothes on and started searching for the helmet. Minute after minute, she kept searching until she hit something hard. She found her helmet was at the exact place she left it. Her eyes couldn't have missed something so big. It was right there, and then it disappeared. And somehow it was back at its initial spot, all on its own. Feeling like it was just a blur, she moved past it, smoking a cigarette and went to bed. At around 2 o'clock in the morning, she woke up from sleep feeling like the room was so hot as though it was on fire. She grabbed her phone and started watching YouTube to pass her time and hoped she would feel sleepy again and fall asleep. But suddenly, she heard the door in the next room open. The sound was so distinct that she knew she wasn't imagining it. Then it slammed shut. Scared, she tried calling her friend, but they didn't answer. Suddenly, the helmet on the sofa fell down with a loud bang and rolled across the floor. She knew that this thing was playing with her. She was so scared that she hid herself under her blanket. The sounds became louder, and this time, she heard a baby crying in the hallway. The cry became louder and louder. She felt the blood in her face drain to her feet. Her stomach shrank and her heart sank. Then the sounds just stopped. 100 thoughts went through her head of what just happened and why this was happening to her all of a sudden, and why it hadn't occurred earlier since she's already been staying there for months. Weeks later, Sarah had some friends over at night, one named Radhi and the other named Amri. They hung out in the living room with a guitar, 3 cups of coffee and a box of cigarettes. They heard a distinct loud knock at the end of the hall. All 3 of them stopped and stared at the door in shock and moved closer to one another. Before Sarah could speak, they heard 3 knocks on the door. They were all in fear because they know no one else was home. The door opened on its own, slowly creaking. They were so scared they ran to the master bedroom, turned on all the lights and locked the door. Hiding in the room, they heard the water running from the kitchen sink and the toilet shower turned on its own in the living room. Only lasting for a few minutes, all the sounds stopped. Not long after, the sounds started again, and this time the sounds were getting louder and louder, while sounds of banging on the door kept getting more frequent and more aggressive. They heard a woman moaning right in front of their bedroom door. The fear and anxiety grew too intensive for Sarah that she fainted. She couldn't remember what happened, except that she woke up later that night, next to both her friends, sleeping on the bed. Around 2 in the morning, Sarah woke up to the sound of someone knocking on their front door. Scared from the events that happened earlier, she woke up her 2 friends and told them to check the door. As they were heading to the front door, they kept hearing an elderly man saying, "Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum." She opened the door and saw no one was there. Their eyes were wide open and they were wide awake. They opened their grill door and checked both left and the right, but they saw no one there. But right before heading back in the house, they noticed a figure standing at the end of the hallway on their left side. It looked like an old Chinese man just standing there. The man kept staring, until he started walking towards them. His first few paces were slow, then the next few were getting faster, until he started to run towards them. All they could hear were his footsteps getting faster and faster. They ran in their house, locked the grill door and their main door, and were waiting, hoping for the man to just stop bothering them or just go away. The door began to shake aggressively and the knocks were loud and heavy. All they could do was pray and run to their room, locking their room door and hid themselves under the blanket. The event lasted only for about 5 minutes, but it felt like hours to Sarah and her friends. After the 5-minute mark passed, the sound stopped and everything became calm. They couldn't sleep anymore after what they saw and were awake until sunrise, until they felt safe enough to sleep. These events were based on a true story and was the scariest event Sarah had faced while staying at the haunted apartment. Nobody truly knows if Sarah still lives in the building. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. I hope that you enjoyed this video. This is Wise Defies. See you next time.